1 hour each day can reshape your life. Not later, not one day, but beginning now if you use it wisely. That isn't just a phrase. It's a challenge to the way you've been living. Every day, you're given time. And during that time, most people scroll, complain, wait, or repeat the same habits, hoping things will change. But here's the reality. If you give just one focused hour a day to yourself, everything starts to move. Not because the hour has magic, but because you become deliberate. This audiobook isn't about excitement or hype. It's about creating something real. You'll learn how to take 1 hour and turn it into discipline, direction, progress, and confidence. The kind that stays, the kind that lasts. Ask yourself, how long have you felt stuck? How long have you talked about changing? It doesn't take the whole day. It takes 1 hour again and again. That's how real change begins. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Give yourself 1 full hour to improve every day. You see, it's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right things for the right amount of time every single day. And most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they never learned how to use their time in a way that builds them instead of draining them. That's what we're talking about today. Giving yourself 1 full hour every day to improve your life. Now think about this. 1 hour, 60 minutes. That's 4% of your day. And yet most people give hours away to scrolling, entertainment, complaining, or waiting around. But they won't give even 1 hour to themselves. And that's why many people never become who they were meant to be. You see, change doesn't need luck. It doesn't need perfect timing. It needs discipline. It needs a decision. If you're not where you want to be in life, there's a good chance you've been giving your time to the wrong things. Because time reflects priorities like a mirror. And 1 hour a day tells a powerful story about what you believe you're worth. If you give yourself 1 hour every day, not to rest, not to escape, but to build, study, reflect, train, and grow, you won't recognize yourself after a few months. And you don't need anything extreme. You don't need a big moment to change your life. You need a chair, a notebook, and a quiet place. You need discipline. You need consistency. And most importantly, you need honesty. 1 hour a day is enough to change how you think. That's where it begins. Because weak thoughts create weak actions. But when your thinking sharpens, your life starts to shift. You begin asking better questions. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop protecting your comfort. You stop reacting and start choosing intentionally. That's the kind of change that lasts. And it starts with 1 hour. And here's what you need to understand. You already have the time. You just need to take it back. Some people say they're too busy. But busy doing what? You can't be too busy to improve yourself. Because if you don't make time to grow, life will force you to make time for regret. Life doesn't pause. And neither should you. Use 1 hour a day to take full responsibility. Sit down and be honest about what you want. Don't lie to yourself. If you've been lazy, admit it. If you've been distracted, recognize it. If you've been waiting for someone else to fix your life, stop. No one is coming to save you. That's not negative. That's powerful. Because if it's in your control, you can actually change it. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't even have to be fast. But you do have to be consistent. You have to show up for yourself every day. That 1 hour becomes your advantage. When others are tired, you're improving. When others are guessing, you're learning. When others are stuck, you're growing. That's what separates people who live with purpose from those who drift through life. And start simple. Take that 1 hour and decide what matters most to you. Maybe you use it to read a meaningful book, not trash, not noise, but something that sharpens your thinking. Or maybe you use that hour to write. Put your thoughts on paper, clear your confusion, and find direction. Or maybe you move your body, training your mind through discipline. You sweat. You push forward. You remind yourself that you are more than your excuses. You can also use that hour to create something, a skill, a business, a side project, anything that gives you more control over your future. And maybe you're not good at it yet. That's okay. That's why practice exists. Use that hour to move forward. Small actions grow quickly when you show up every day. You might ask, what if I miss a day? You don't quit. You don't attack yourself. You begin again. That's strength returning. Don't let one bad day turn into a bad week or a bad month. You're not aiming for perfection. You're aiming to be better than yesterday. That's it. Over time, that 1 hour will change you. And not just externally, it will change how you speak. It will change how you enter a room. It will change what you accept. It will change how you carry yourself. You'll start trusting yourself again. You'll look in the mirror and see someone who keeps their word. That matters. Most people break promises to themselves every day. They say they'll start tomorrow. They say they'll wake up earlier. They say they'll stop wasting time. But their actions don't follow their words. And when that pattern continues, you begin to believe you're weak. You start thinking change is too difficult. But it isn't. You just haven't committed to 1 hour a day. That's the difference. Here's the truth. Success isn't complicated. It isn't mysterious. It isn't reserved for a special few. It belongs to those who choose it daily. And choosing means saying no to what drains you. It means setting limits. It means doing the work even when no one is watching, especially then. That's character. 1 hour a day teaches you that you can rely on yourself. It shows you that your future matters more than comfort. And it reminds you that time is a tool, not a prison. If you stay consistent with that 1 hour, your confidence grows. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop seeking approval. You realize the life you want isn't built by luck. It's built by effort. And one focused hour each day adds up. In 1 month, that's 30 hours of intentional growth. In 6 months, that's 180 hours invested in your future. In 1 year, that's 365 hours spent building, improving, and evolving while others stayed stuck in the same complaints. You have to look at your life and ask yourself, am I using my time to escape or to grow? Because 1 hour won't change you if you waste it. But if you use it with purpose, if you protect it like your future depends on it, it will transform your life. So start now. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation follows action. Just begin. Choose a time. Make it non-negotiable. Don't explain it to anyone. Don't wait for understanding. This is your life. This is your hour. And it's time to give yourself what you truly deserve. Because when you fully give 1 hour a day, you'll start to feel something you've been missing. You'll feel momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds courage. And courage changes lives. Not someday, not next year, today. 1 hour a day can change your life, but only if you finally choose yourself. Chapter 2. Get out of bed and reclaim your day. Most people don't realize how much of their life they give away the moment they hit snooze. Not just minutes. Not just time. They give up control. When you don't rise with purpose, something else takes charge of your day, your habits, your emotions, your distractions, your excuses. And if that continues, you stop feeling in control of anything. That's why waking up early on your own terms matters more than people think. It's not just about waking up. It's about waking up to your life. Every time you stay in bed longer than planned, you delay your progress. Not because you're weak or lazy, but because you haven't chosen to lead your day. You're letting the day lead you. And when the day leads you, it takes you where it wants, not where you want to go. Getting out of bed early isn't just about time management. It's about managing your life. The first decision you make in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. If your first action is hesitation, the rest of your day feels scattered. If it's doubt, your confidence suffers. But if it's action, your day begins with strength. Getting out of bed when you said you would, when it's uncomfortable, when no one is watching, teaches you something important. It shows you that you can control yourself. And when you feel in control of yourself, everything else in life feels possible. You stop letting emotions take over. You stop being trapped by old habits. You begin making choices based on who you want to become, not how you feel in the moment. Most people say they want a different life. But real change doesn't begin at the gym. It doesn't begin at work. It doesn't even begin with reading a book. It begins the moment your alarm rings and you decide to get up. That's where discipline truly starts. Not in a dramatic moment, but quietly, alone, in your own room. When you choose movement over comfort, you don't need to feel excited about waking up. You just need to be willing. You have to stop waiting until you feel ready. That's the mistake most people make. They believe they must feel good before they act. But if you wait for the feeling, you'll wait forever. Progress begins when you move first. And when you repeat that choice day after day, those early hours become powerful. They become your advantage. The people who move ahead in life aren't always the smartest or most talented. They're the most consistent. They're the ones who rise before the world wakes up. They don't waste their mornings fighting the alarm because they understand that first hour is the most honest time of the day. No noise, no distractions, just you and your decisions. And those decisions add up. One early morning becomes two. Two turns into a week. A week becomes a month. And before you realize it, you've built something most people never do. Momentum. That's what creates confidence. That's what separates those who talk from those who act. Anyone can say they're going to get their life together. Anyone can promise tomorrow. But very few stand up each day and do exactly what they said they would. You have to choose who you want to be. Do you want to live on snooze, watching life pass by from the comfort of your bed? Or do you want to take responsibility and say, "This is my time, and I'm not wasting it"? Because no one is going to hand you the life you want. You have to claim it. And it begins with how you start your day. There's something powerful about being awake while the world is quiet. No pressure, no noise, no distractions. Just you, your thoughts, and a fresh opportunity to move forward. Most people miss that opportunity because they never notice it. They sleep through it. They assume they'll catch up later. But later becomes never when waiting becomes a habit. The version of yourself you want to become is waiting on the other side of discipline. And discipline begins in the morning. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, but when it's dark, when it's cold, when your bed feels more inviting than your goals. That moment shapes your future, and you'll never discover your true potential until you stop listening to the voice that says 5 more minutes. Every time you ignore that voice, you grow stronger. Every time you rise when it's easier to stay down, you build identity. You become someone you respect. That's real confidence. It doesn't come from praise. It doesn't come from others believing in you. It comes from proving to yourself that you control your actions. Let's be real. This isn't about becoming someone who wakes up at 4 a.m. every single day. It's not about showing off or being perfect. It's about taking your time back. You don't need extremes. You need consistency. Wake up early enough to work on what matters to you. Not what the world demands. Not what your phone pushes at you. But what your future self will appreciate. If you feel stuck, this is where you begin. Not with a flawless plan. Not with a long checklist. Just get up and reclaim your time. Use the morning to clear your mind, move your body, think, write, build, breathe. That 1 hour of ownership makes the remaining 23 easier to manage. Because when your day begins with strength, that strength stays with you. But when it begins with delay, distraction, and doubt, that energy follows you as well. The mindset you build in the first hour spreads into everything else. That's why you must protect it. Don't wake up to chaos. Don't wake up to notifications. Wake up with purpose. Wake up with direction. The truth is your bed will always feel better in the moment. But that comfort comes at a price. It costs you your goals. It costs you your edge. It costs you the person you say you want to become. And over time, that price grows. It shows up as missed chances, wasted potential, and frustration. You begin asking why nothing is working, when the real reason is you've been giving your day away before it even starts. That's the hard truth most people avoid. But if you're willing to face it, if you're willing to change it, everything can shift. You don't need a miracle. You need motion. And that motion starts the moment your feet touch the floor. That's the first win of the day. And if you can win that, you're already ahead. So take that decision seriously. Because it's not just about waking up, it's about showing up. It's about doing what matters before the world pulls you in every direction. When you do that consistently, you become unstoppable. Take back your mornings. Take back your focus. Take back your day. Because when you rise with purpose, the world begins to move differently around you. And more importantly, you begin to move differently within yourself. Chapter 3. Place your focus where your future actually develops. Everyone wants a better future, yet most never reach it. Not because they don't try, but because they spend too much time focused on the wrong things. Your life always moves in the direction of what you pay attention to. When your attention is scattered, your life becomes scattered. When your focus stays on things that don't truly matter, your energy goes towards short-term comfort while your long-term goals fall behind. This is the truth many people avoid. The life you're creating is directly shaped by what you choose to focus on every single day. It's easy to say you want success. It's easy to say you want growth. But it's not about words. It's about where your attention goes when no one is watching. Because when your attention is locked on drama, on other people's opinions, on comparison and insecurity, you're feeding the wrong version of your future. You have to realize that your attention is your power. Wherever it goes, your energy follows. And wherever your energy flows, results begin to form. Each day, you choose what you think about, what you work on, and what you chase. When you allow distractions to pull your mind constantly, you end up reacting to life instead of creating it. And the danger is that most distractions don't look dangerous at first. They appear as notifications, entertainment, small tasks, or other people's problems. But slowly, they steal your focus from what actually builds you. You must become aware of this, because no one will guard your attention for you. The world doesn't care if you waste it. In fact, it benefits when you do. But your future only grows when your attention stays on things that move you forward. That means training your mind to resist what's easy and choose what matters. Not occasionally. Every single day, ask yourself honestly, what are you really giving your attention to? Are you replaying past mistakes? Are you checking for validation online? Are you letting fear take up space in your head? Because attention is limited. Once it's spent, it's gone. And if you're careless, your time and focus will disappear without ever bringing you closer to the life you want. Growth begins when you decide what truly moves you forward. Which skills deserve your time? Which goals deserve your focus? And which parts of your life need to be built, not just maintained? When that becomes clear, everything changes. Your attention is no longer just being used, it's being invested. And investments build something meaningful. They don't just pass the time, they shape the future. There's a big difference between being busy and being focused. Being busy feels productive. Being focused actually creates progress. And focus is uncomfortable because it demands effort. It requires sitting down, removing distractions, and giving your full mind to one task. Many people avoid that clarity, not because they're lazy, but because it forces them to face what they've been avoiding. The moment your attention locks onto what matters, excuses lose their power. You begin to see where time has been wasted. You notice the gaps in your habits. You recognize the difference between motion and results. That discomfort is real, but it's also where transformation begins. You don't need more time. You need stronger focus. If you committed to one meaningful goal for just one focused hour a day over the next year, you wouldn't recognize yourself 12 months from now. But the challenge is we live in a world constantly demanding your attention. Scroll this. Click that. Respond here. React there. Without control, your focus gets pulled in every direction, none of them leading where you want to go. It's not about working harder all the time. It's about making sure your effort actually matters. You can spend 5 hours on 10 small things that change nothing, or one focused hour on something that improves your life. That's the difference between activity and progress. And that difference comes from attention. Train yourself to notice when your focus drifts. When your mind wanders toward things that drain you, pull it back. You're not a machine. You have control over your focus. And like a muscle, attention grows stronger with use. At first, staying focused feels difficult. But over time, you'll think clearer, work deeper, and move faster toward the life you want. Begin by deciding where your attention truly belongs. Maybe it's a project you've been avoiding. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's fixing something that's been broken for too long. Whatever it is, commit to giving it your attention every day. Not leftover time, not convenience. Your best energy, because what you feed grows. And you must also protect your mind from overload. You don't need constant updates on everything happening in the world. You don't need to watch every clip, read every comment, or react to every breaking story. That nonstop stream of noise steals your clarity. And without clarity, your focus becomes weak and scattered. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind. You're not required to consume everything placed in front of you. Choose what helps you think clearly, not what helps you lose more time. Remember, your attention shapes who you become. The more time you spend focused on growth, effort, and progress, the more you begin to see yourself as capable, steady, and in control, someone who isn't shaken by every small thing. But when your attention is constantly jumping around, always chasing the next distraction, you'll feel anxious, restless, and empty. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your energy is being used without purpose. This change in focus doesn't happen randomly. It happens through daily discipline. Wake up and decide where your attention goes before the world decides for you. Set limits. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Say no to anything that pulls you off track. Not because you're being rude, but because you're building something, because you respect your future enough to give it your full attention today. There's a reason successful people protect their focus like it's valuable, because it is. They don't give everyone access to their thoughts. They don't react to every notification. They don't waste hours explaining themselves to people who don't matter. They stay focused. They guard their time. They remain grounded in what moves them forward. You can do the same, but you have to stop trying to do everything at once. You have to stop believing multitasking will lead you to success. It won't. What you need is depth. And depth only comes when you give one thing your full attention. That's how mastery is created. That's how confidence grows. That's how change happens. So take an honest look at your life. Where is your attention going right now? Who or what is taking most of your mental energy? Is it helping you grow or just keeping you busy? Are you focused on problems or solutions? Are you building your future or avoiding it? You don't need to do everything today, but you do need to focus on something that matters. Even if it's only for 1 hour, place your attention where your future actually grows and do it again tomorrow and the next day. If you keep doing that, you won't have to chase success. You'll become the kind of person who attracts it naturally through discipline, clarity, and the daily choice to focus on what matters. Chapter 4. Create something meaningful with your time today. Every morning, you wake up with time in your hands. Whether you notice it or not, that time is either used to build or wasted away. Most people spend their days reacting to everything around them. They check their phone, scroll through other people's lives, jump from one task to another, and by nightfall, they've spent hours on things that meant nothing to them. Then they wonder why life feels empty, why they feel stuck, why they don't feel proud of anything. It's because nothing they did that day had meaning. You have time. Maybe not unlimited time. Maybe not perfectly organized time. But you do have time. And within that time, you have a choice. You can repeat yesterday, or you can use it to create something that actually matters to you. That's what separates people who move forward from those who stay stuck. It isn't luck. It is an opportunity. It's how they use their time, especially the time no one sees. People often say they're too busy, but what they really mean is they haven't made what matters a priority. You always find time for what's important. The real question is whether your growth is important enough to make the list. Is your purpose important enough to sit down, focus, and begin building? The truth is, creating something meaningful requires effort. It takes focus. It takes choosing to work even when no one notices, even when there's no praise, even when it feels uncomfortable because it matters to you. That's what gives life meaning. Not just following routines or checking off tasks, but creating something with intention, something you can look back on tomorrow and feel proud of. You don't need a perfect plan to begin. You don't need to wait for the right feeling. You just need to sit down and use what you already have. Your mind, your time, your energy, your vision. Maybe it's writing a page. Maybe it's recording your ideas. Maybe it's designing something. Maybe it's improving your health. Maybe it's learning a skill that moves you closer to your next level. What you build isn't the point. The point is that when you begin building, you reconnect with purpose. You stop drifting. You stop chasing motivation and start creating a reason to wake up tomorrow with clarity. Most people don't need a break. They need direction. They need something that reminds them their time matters. Your time isn't only for surviving. It's for creating. It's for building something that lasts longer than the moment. You don't need to do everything today, but you do need to begin. You have to give yourself permission to work on your vision, even when it's small, even when it's quiet. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, it will never arrive. Life doesn't pause to give you time to catch up. You have to make room to grow within the life you already live. There is real strength in showing up for your own goals, especially when no one else understands them. You don't need approval. You don't need praise. You need consistency. You need to remind yourself every day that your time matters and how you use it will shape your future. That's not pressure, that's power. Because it means you're not waiting on anyone. You can start today and build something that moves you closer to the life you want. Don't let comparison pull you off track. Don't let someone else's timeline make you feel behind. You're not late, you're just distracted. And the fastest way forward is to sit down and begin again. Begin again with one idea. Begin again with 1 hour. Begin again with a clear mind. You're not trapped. You're just not building. And once you start building, momentum follows. You don't have to change everything in one day. But every day, you can change something. Every day, you can decide, today I build. That mindset alone can change how you live. Instead of waking up wondering how to survive the day, you wake up asking, what can I create with this time? That's how you take control of your life. That's how you stop feeling like a passenger and start feeling like the driver. Most people want results, but they avoid the process. And the process is simple. Show up and do the work. Not flashy, not exciting all the time, but effective. Real growth lies between intention and action, and your time is the bridge between the two. Take 1 hour, one focused hour. Schedule it. Protect it. Don't use it to scroll. Don't use it to kill time. Use it to build. Use it to improve something in your life you've been ignoring. Because when you build, progress appears. And when you see progress, hope returns. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're moving forward. That's what building does. It replaces doubt with direction. It replaces excuses with action. It replaces fear with responsibility. You're not waiting for motivation. You're creating discipline. You're not waiting to feel ready. You're becoming ready through action. That's a powerful shift. And it starts when you stop wasting your own time. There is no perfect moment to begin, but every moment you delay is a moment lost. That's the cost of waiting. That's why today matters. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, with the time you have, with the mind you have, with the energy you have left, use it. Build with it. Even if you're tired, even if you're unsure, just begin. Because small steps, taken consistently, create strong foundations. One day, you'll look back and realize that choosing to give part of your time to something meaningful changed your life's direction. Not because it was easy, not because it was fast, but because it was yours. You built it. You owned it. You committed to it. And nothing replaces the feeling of knowing you used your time to become more. Not just to stay busy, but to build. Build your health. Build your mind. Build your skills. Build your peace. Build your future. Start today, because today is the only time you truly have. And when you give it your best, it gives back more than you expect. You already have what it takes. You always have. You just need to stop giving your time to things that drain you and start using it to build something that finally matters, something that lifts you, something that lasts. Give your time purpose today, and your life will follow. Chapter 5. Learn one useful thing that helps you grow. Growth doesn't come from doing more, it comes from understanding more. Not random information, but something useful, something that changes how you think, how you act, how you show up. Every day gives you the chance to learn something that can improve your life, sharpen your judgment, strengthen your decisions, and build confidence. But most people ignore that opportunity. They postpone it. They say later. They get pulled into noise. They choose entertainment instead of learning. Then they wonder why they feel stuck, why the same patterns repeat, why nothing changes. If you want to grow, you must become someone who learns with intention. Not once in a while. Not only when it's convenient. Every single day. You don't need hours. You don't need a classroom. You just need one useful idea, one insight that helps you understand life better, manage stress better, handle people, money, time, responsibility, or whatever challenge you're facing right now. Because the truth is, your next level depends on what you know. You can't act better until you think better. And you won't think better until you learn better. Every problem you face is either something you already know how to handle or something you haven't learned how to solve yet. When learning stops, growth stops. You remain at the level of your last breakthrough. You recycle the same thoughts. You repeat the same behaviors. You keep making the same mistakes. Not because you don't care, but because you haven't learned a better way yet. One useful thing per day. That's the rule. It could come from a book. It could come from a podcast. It could be a quote that makes you pause. It could be a conversation with someone you respect. It could be a mistake that finally teaches you something. The source doesn't matter. The usefulness does. Can you apply it? Does it change how you see your time, your effort, your future? Growth isn't about collecting information. It's about learning something that actually moves you forward. Growth happens when you take one clear idea and begin to live by it. Not just hearing it, but truly understanding it. You think about it. You write it down. You ask yourself, how can I use this in my life today? That kind of learning changes you slowly, consistently, and deeply. Learning doesn't require brilliance. It requires hunger. A hunger to improve, a hunger to understand, a hunger to stop standing still. You can learn from anything when you're paying attention, but most people aren't. They spend more time scrolling than thinking. They look for quick fixes instead of real understanding. They chase shortcuts while avoiding mastery. And that's why they don't grow. It's not because they lack ability. It's because they lack focused learning. If you want a better life, you have to understand how life actually works. That means learning how your mind operates, how habits shape your future, how to manage emotions, how to build things that last, how to speak in ways that create trust, how to think long-term, how to move with intention instead of reacting to everything around you. None of this happens by chance. It happens when you sit down each day and ask, what can I learn today that helps me become better tomorrow? Learning one useful thing a day may seem small, but it compounds. After 30 days, you're 30 ideas stronger. That's 30 new tools. That's 30 shifts in thinking. That's 30 layers of growth. And it doesn't stop there. When you stay consistent, those ideas connect. They build on each other. And suddenly, you start seeing the world differently. You make smarter decisions. You speak with more confidence. You handle pressure better because your growth is coming from the inside. You have to stop waiting for motivation to learn. Learning isn't driven by mood. It's driven by discipline. You make it part of your routine. You don't ask how you feel. You do it because you know your future depends on it. You don't need to read 10 books a week. You just need one sentence that hits hard enough to change how you act. That's what useful learning does. It changes behavior, and behavior changes results. Learning is also the answer to fear. When you feel stuck, uncertain, or unsure of your next move, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you need to grow. You need knowledge that makes the next step clear. Most fear comes from confusion. But when you learn the right things, your mind clears. You stop overthinking. You start understanding. And understanding gives direction. Make this a rule. Don't let a day pass without learning something that helps you grow. Not random facts. Not surface-level tips. Something meaningful. Something that helps you handle life better. Something that moves you one step closer to the person you want to become. That's the kind of learning that transforms you. And don't keep it trapped in your head. Use it. Talk about it. Teach it. Write it down. Practice it. The more you interact with what you learn, the more it becomes part of you. And when it becomes part of you, your life begins to change not just in what you know, but in how you live. Pay attention to what you allow into your mind. Don't consume things that confuse you, weaken you, or pull you off track. Be intentional with your inputs. Choose content that challenges you, strengthens your mindset, and sharpens your thinking. Your mind is your foundation. Protect it. Feed it. Strengthen it one useful idea at a time. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room, but you do need to be the most committed to learning. That's how growth continues. No matter where you start, no matter how behind you feel, no matter what you've experienced, growth doesn't require perfection. It requires attention to what you learn, how you learn, and what you do with it. The most powerful people aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones who think clearly, speak with meaning, and act with wisdom. And that comes from what they've learned through reading, listening, reflecting, and asking better questions. You can become that person too, but you have to decide. You have to make learning non-negotiable in your life. Every time you learn something that helps you improve, you gain strength. Your thinking becomes clearer. You feel more in control. And that sense of progress creates momentum. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop making excuses. You stop searching for shortcuts because your focus shifts to becoming better, not just wishing life were easier. You can begin right now. Learn one useful thing today. Something that helps you think sharper, live smarter, and move closer to the person you want to be. Do it again tomorrow. Then the next day. If you stay consistent, your life will change. Not overnight, but little by little, day by day, idea by idea, step by step. Growth is a decision, and it starts with what you choose to learn today. Chapter 6. Move your body to feel strong and alert. Your body holds the energy required to build your future, yet most people never tap into it because they don't move. They stay still. They sit for hours. They feel exhausted without doing anything meaningful. When you don't use your body with intention, you slowly lose the energy, clarity, and strength your goals demand. That's why daily movement isn't just about appearance. It's about waking yourself up. It's about being present. It's about reminding yourself that you're capable of more than sitting and watching life pass by. You don't need to be an athlete. You don't need a gym. You don't need a perfect workout plan. What you need is action. You need movement. You need to challenge yourself not for looks, but for performance, mental toughness, and discipline. Because when you move your body, your mind shifts too. The mental fog clears. Tension releases. Excuses grow quieter. You feel alive again. Physical movement wakes you up in a way nothing else can. When your heart rate rises and blood starts flowing, something changes inside you. You stop overthinking. You stop doubting. You feel grounded. You begin to trust that you can handle what's ahead. This isn't just about exercise. It's about building strength from the inside out. There's a big difference between being tired from doing too much and feeling drained from doing too little. Most people feel exhausted not because they're overly active, but because they're inactive. They've sat too long. They've ignored their body's signals. And now their mind feels heavy as well. It's surprising how quickly that can change just by standing up, stretching, walking, doing a few push-ups, stepping outside, and getting your body moving again. Movement creates momentum. It puts you back in control of your state. If you've been feeling stuck or low, one of the fastest ways to shift that is to move. Not when it feels convenient, not when motivation appears, but as a habit, as part of your lifestyle. Stop waiting for energy and start creating it. Your body is a tool, use it. Even 10 minutes of intentional movement can reset your entire day. It doesn't need to be intense. It just needs to be deliberate. Include your body in your growth. Too many people try to think their way into a better life while ignoring the physical side of themselves. But the two are connected. A weak, tired body leads to a foggy mind. A strong body supports clear thinking. When you build physical habits, you also build emotional strength. You handle pressure better. You push through resistance faster. You become someone who keeps going when things get uncomfortable. The discipline you build through movement carries into every other area of your life. When you choose to move even when you don't feel like it, you teach your mind to act without needing permission from emotions. That's real strength. That's how you learn to keep promises to yourself. You'll never regret moving your body. You'll never regret the sweat, the effort, or the push. But you will regret the days you kept delaying it. You'll regret staying in bed too long, letting your body weaken, letting your drive fade. Each time you skip movement, you train yourself to accept low energy. You train yourself to settle. Over time, that becomes normal. But you can change that. And it begins with one decision to move today. You don't need to follow trends or copy anyone else. Just choose something that works for you. Walking, bodyweight exercises, stretching, dancing. It doesn't need to look impressive. It needs to be consistent. Because consistency shapes identity. And the more you move, the more alive you feel. Your body was built to move. Don't let it waste away through inactivity. Moving first thing in the morning can set the tone for your entire day. You begin with intention. You activate your strength. You remind yourself that you're in control. You're not reacting to life, you're creating it. You're not waiting to feel good. You're giving yourself what you need to feel good. That's ownership. And ownership is where real transformation starts. Some people wait for motivation. Motivation comes after you take action, not before. So stop waiting for the right feeling and start choosing the right behavior. When you move your body, you build self-respect from the inside. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You become someone you can rely on. And when you trust yourself, you move through life with confidence and certainty. You need to understand that no one can do this for you. No one can move your body in your place. No one can give you the strength that only comes from discipline. This is your responsibility, but it's also your chance. Because every bit of effort you invest in your body comes back to you as clarity, focus, and drive. If you've been feeling drained or off lately, start moving. Not to be perfect, not to impress anyone, but to feel fully awake again. You don't need energy drinks or endless caffeine. You need a routine, a daily habit of showing up for your health, choosing strength over comfort, and proving to yourself that you can handle hard things. There's something powerful about feeling strong in your own body. You carry yourself differently. You speak with more belief. You take action without constant hesitation. This isn't about appearance. It's about showing up with full presence, real energy, and commitment. And it begins with how you treat your body today. No matter where you're starting, you can improve. No matter how long it's been, you can begin again. You're not behind, you've just been still for too long. And once you start moving, your body remembers. It wants to move. It wants to feel strong. Give it the chance. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't overthink it. Get up and move. Push through resistance. Get your blood flowing. Feel your breath. Remember what it feels like to be alive in your body. Because when you do, something changes. Your mind clears. Your focus sharpens. You feel ready to face whatever the day brings. You don't need long workouts or perfect form. You just need to start right now with the energy you have in the space you're in. Do something that requires effort. Do something that makes you sweat. Do something that wakes you up and reminds you that you're still in control of your health, your energy, your life. The goal isn't intensity. The goal is consistency. The goal is to make movement a daily standard, not an occasional event. You move because it's part of who you are now. You move because you refuse to let comfort run your life. You move because your goals deserve the strongest version of you. Take care of your body, and it will support everything else. Use your time well. Don't let another day pass without moving. You owe it to yourself to feel strong, capable, and alive. You already have what it takes. Now prove it through action. Chapter 7. Slow down and look at what's really happening inside. Most people live in a rush. They wake up, jump into tasks, check their phone, move through the day, and fall asleep without ever checking how they actually feel. They stay busy because slowing down feels uncomfortable. They don't pause to ask why they feel heavy, exhausted, irritated, or disconnected. They confuse productivity with constant motion. But real progress doesn't come from always doing more. It comes from awareness. And awareness only appears when you slow down and turn inward. You can't fix what you refuse to face. And you can't face anything if you never pause long enough to notice it. If you want to grow, if you want to understand your thoughts, habits, and patterns, you must slow down. You must create space to reflect. You must ask difficult questions. What am I avoiding? What am I holding on to? What's no longer helping me? These answers don't appear in a rush. They appear in quiet moments when you're willing to be honest with yourself. It's easy to hide inside routines. You can go days, weeks, even years without checking what's really happening within you. You might look successful on the outside while falling apart internally. You might perform well but feel empty. You might smile around others and feel frustrated alone. No one else may see it, but you feel it. That pressure inside doesn't disappear. It builds. And if you don't face it, it eventually breaks you. You don't need more noise. You need clarity. You need stillness. You need permission to pause, not to escape, not to scroll, but to listen to your own thoughts, emotions, and needs. Sometimes the answers you're searching for aren't out in the world. They're already inside you. You've just been moving too fast to hear them. Slowing down isn't weakness. It's strength. It's choosing awareness. It's choosing truth over avoidance. It's checking in not just with your schedule, but with your mental and emotional state. Are you okay? Are you clear on what you want? Are you running from something? Are you acting from habit or intention? These are not small questions. They shape your direction. Because it's possible to work hard and move fast in the wrong direction. It's possible to chase goals that no longer match who you are. And you won't realize that unless you stop and look inward. You need to build the habit of checking in with yourself every day. Create time to breathe, reflect, and ask what's working and what isn't. This isn't overthinking, it's honesty. It's taking responsibility for your inner world, because your inner world shapes your outer results. Messy thoughts lead to scattered decisions. Heavy emotions drain energy. A noisy mind weakens focus. One of the most powerful things you can do is spend quiet time alone with yourself. No phone, no distractions, just stillness. Sit with your thoughts and ask what's really going on. Are you holding resentment? Are you afraid? Are you stuck in a pattern that no longer fits who you're becoming? When you ask honestly, clarity appears. You stop lying to yourself. And that's when change becomes possible. Most people avoid this because it's uncomfortable. It's easier to stay busy than to face truth. Easier to blame others than to take responsibility. But you will never change what you refuse to look at. No one can do this work for you. This is about your willingness to be honest with yourself. When you slow down and truly check in, you begin to see things clearly. You realize some frustration isn't about today, it's about something you never healed. You see that stress isn't always pressure, it's pretending you're fine when you're not. You understand that low energy isn't always physical, it's emotional. And once you see it, you can work through it. Checking in isn't about staying in pain. It's about understanding it so you don't carry it forward. You can't move into the future while avoiding the present. You can't build peace while holding confusion. So stop running. Stop escaping. Pause and check what's really happening inside. Ask yourself, am I proud of how I've been thinking? Am I treating myself with the respect I expect from others? Am I letting fear decide my actions? These are the questions you ask when you stop pretending you're okay and start working toward actually being okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is awareness. And awareness gives you power. Slowing down reconnects you with your values, your vision, and your direction. It helps you remember what truly matters and what doesn't. It clears the mental noise so you can focus again. And inside that clarity, you find peace. Not peace that depends on circumstances, but peace that comes from living in alignment with who you really are. You don't have to wait until everything falls apart to start checking in with yourself. Don't wait until you're burned out, anxious, or completely lost. Build the habit now. Every day, take a few quiet minutes. Turn everything off. Close your eyes. Listen inward. Not to the version of yourself you present to others, but to the real one. That's where the answers live. Give yourself space to process. You don't need all the answers right away. You just need to stop running long enough to ask better questions and give yourself time to hear the responses. Your inner world is always communicating with you. You just have to slow down enough to notice it. When you practice this regularly, you become stronger not only mentally, but emotionally. You stop reacting to everything. You stop carrying pain that isn't yours anymore. You stop making choices driven by fear or pressure. You begin choosing what truly fits you. You become grounded, focused, and aware. That's real strength. This isn't a one-time exercise. It's a lifelong habit. You'll never outgrow the need to check in. Growth means change, and change brings new emotions, challenges, and thoughts. As your life deepens, your awareness must deepen with it. Don't be afraid of that. Don't avoid what's real. Slowing down doesn't mean doing less. It means living with more clarity, purpose, and depth. You owe it to yourself to stop pretending and start being honest. Start listening. Start paying attention to your thoughts, your body, your behavior. Every signal is trying to tell you something. Ignore it, and it gets louder. Listen to it, and you get wiser. Your greatest growth won't come from pushing harder. It will come from understanding yourself better. And that only happens when you make time to slow down and look inward. So begin now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Sit down. Breathe. Ask the real questions. Feel what's there. Remind yourself that you don't need to rush. You just need to be honest. Because when you get honest, things start to align. Chapter 8. Face the one problem you keep avoiding. There's always that one issue. You think about it, then push it aside. It shows up when you're alone. It lingers in the background while you work. You tell yourself you'll deal with it later, but later never comes. You bury it under distractions, responsibilities, excuses, and noise. But it's still there. And deep down, you know that real progress won't happen until you stop running and face it. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop avoiding it. That problem you keep pushing away. That conversation you've delayed. That decision you refuse to make. That habit you haven't changed. That responsibility you keep postponing. It isn't going anywhere. Ignoring it hasn't solved it. If anything, it's been growing quietly while you move around it. Every time you avoid it, you give it more power. Eventually, it starts affecting your energy, your focus, and your self-respect. Not because it's impossible to fix, but because avoidance weakens momentum. You already know what the problem is. No one has to tell you. It's the thing that surfaces when your mind goes quiet. The thing you avoid talking about, but can't fully escape. It shows up in your stress, your frustration, your regret. Yet you keep telling yourself you're too busy. But the truth is, not dealing with it is already costing you. It's draining your peace. It's stealing your energy. It's keeping you from fully showing up in your life. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to solve every issue right now. But you do need to choose the one thing you've been avoiding and start addressing it step by step. The longer you avoid it, the heavier it becomes. That weight doesn't disappear. It just hides behind busyness. But the moment you face it directly, everything shifts. You stop running. You stop lying to yourself. You stop letting fear make your choices. That's where real change starts. Begin with honesty. What are you truly avoiding? What have you delayed for too long? Maybe it's taking responsibility. Maybe it's walking away from something that no longer fits. Maybe it's setting a boundary you should have set years ago. Maybe it's admitting that your current path isn't working. Whatever it is, avoidance won't make it easier. Only action will. Facing a problem doesn't mean fixing it perfectly. It means acknowledging it. It means stopping the pretending. It means telling yourself the truth. I've been avoiding this, and it's holding me back. That awareness alone can break the cycle. Fixing something doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's one phone call, one small habit change, one honest conversation, one decision to forgive, to leave, or to begin again. What makes it powerful is intention. You're no longer running. You're choosing responsibility. You're taking back control instead of letting an unresolved issue pull you in every direction. Fear and resistance will show up, that's normal. They don't mean you're wrong. They mean you're dealing with something real. Avoidance may feel safe short-term, but it causes long-term damage. It eats away at confidence. It drains motivation. It quietly convinces you that you can't handle your own life. That's not true. You can handle it. You've just been avoiding the attempt. But safety isn't the goal. Growth is. Strength is. Freedom is. And freedom only comes when you stop running from the thing that keeps you stuck. You don't need to fix everything, just the one issue stealing your energy. Ask yourself, what would change if I faced this? How would my life feel if this wasn't hanging over me? The answer is usually clear. You'd feel lighter, more focused, more capable. So don't wait. Take the uncomfortable first step. Have the hard conversation. Make the bold decision. Remove the weight that's been holding you down. You're not weak for having problems. You're human, but you become strong the moment you stop avoiding them. The moment you say, this ends here. The moment you decide to clean up what's been left unresolved, that decision alone can bring clarity. Because once you stop hiding from the truth, you can move forward with purpose again. You don't have to do everything today, but you do have to start. And on the other side of that first step is relief. Not relief from escaping, but relief from facing life with courage. From knowing fear no longer controls you. From living aligned with who you want to be. Fixing the thing you've been avoiding will change how you see yourself. You'll trust yourself again. You'll move with confidence. You'll make decisions faster because you'll know you're someone who faces reality. This is your moment. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to take control back. Choose one issue. Give it your attention. Face it with honesty and courage. You're not stuck, you're distracted by what you've been avoiding. Clear that, and you unlock a new level of peace, focus, and drive. Don't let today end without taking one step. Make the call. Write the plan. Speak the truth. Release what's weighing you down. Begin. The version of you without that burden already exists. Act like it's starting today. Chapter 9. Track what you do and stay consistent every day. If you don't track your actions, you're guessing. And when you guess, you lose control of your results. You start relying on memory, emotion, and assumptions instead of reality. That's how people work hard and still stay stuck. They believe they're doing enough. They think they're staying on course. But when you look at the real effort, it's uneven. Some days they show up. Other days they disappear. Some days they focus. Most days they drift. That's not how change is created. That's how frustration grows. There's real power in writing things down by hand, not typing them out. Putting pen to paper forces clarity. When you track what you do, you give structure to your growth. You stop guessing. You stop being vague. You start being honest. You stop saying, I think I'm doing okay. And you actually know because the evidence is right there. Once you see the pattern, you begin to understand your behavior at a deeper level. Tracking your actions doesn't need to be complex. It's simple. What did you do today that moved you forward? What did you avoid? Where did your time really go? What can you improve tomorrow? These aren't just questions. They're reflections. They show you the truth without emotion. The page doesn't lie. The notebook doesn't care about excuses. It only shows patterns. And patterns shape your life. Most people struggle with consistency because they don't realize how inconsistent they actually are. They start strong, then fade. They do well early in the week and forget by the end. They wait for motivation to return, but it doesn't. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because they lack a system. No tracking, no review, no rhythm. And without rhythm, discipline disappears. Momentum fades. Daily tracking keeps you honest. It creates accountability not to others, but to yourself. At the end of the day, you ask one question: did I do what I said I would? That question changes everything because it measures effort, not intention. It forces you to face facts instead of feelings. You don't need perfection. You don't need to win every day. You just need to show up and record it. Did you try? Did you move forward, even a little? Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. And promises are kept through consistency. Consistency isn't about huge actions. It's about showing up when it's uncomfortable. It's doing what you committed to, especially on hard days. Track your habits for 30 days, and you'll learn more about yourself than most people learn in years. You'll see when you perform best. You'll notice what distracts you. You'll recognize emotional patterns. You'll uncover where your excuses hide. That awareness puts you back in control. You stop reacting. You stop guessing. You start leading your own life. No one becomes successful by accident. Every person you respect tracks, reviews, reflects, and adjusts. That's how progress becomes real. And when progress feels real, motivation becomes unnecessary. Seeing yourself improve, even slightly, becomes fuel. Tracking isn't about judging yourself. It's not about punishment. It's about ownership. It's about learning your patterns so you can build better ones. You don't change your life by trying harder. You change it by tracking smarter. Every time you write something down, you reclaim control from distraction, excuses, and forgetfulness. You make growth visible. You turn effort into something measurable, adjustable, and worth celebrating. Consistency is the real key to transformation. And the hardest part of consistency isn't starting, it's continuing. That's where most people quit. Not because they failed, but because they lost sight of progress. They forgot how far they'd come. They convinced themselves small steps didn't matter. But small steps are everything. One page, one workout, one focused hour. Done daily, they compound. They multiply. They create results. If your life feels messy, if your mind feels scattered, if progress feels unclear, tracking is the answer. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, pick up a pen. Make a simple list. Track what matters, not everything, just what matters. What gets measured improves. What improves gets repeated. That's how habits form. That's how growth sticks. You don't need to track forever, just long enough to find your rhythm. Once rhythm is in place, things feel easier. Not because life changes, but because you do. You become focused. You become disciplined. You stop restarting. You stop drifting. You lock in. And once you experience that feeling of being locked in, nothing compares. Tracking is how you know you're serious. Because tracking demands effort, honesty, and attention. And in return, it gives you clarity. It shows you exactly where you're solid and exactly where you're slipping. And once you see that, improvement becomes faster. You stop wasting time. You stop hoping things will magically change. You start building with intention. Keep your tracking simple. Don't overthink it. Use a notebook, a calendar, a chart on the wall, anything that keeps your progress visible. What matters most is consistency. Just 5 minutes a day tracking what actually matters to you. Those 5 minutes can save you years of confusion, years of regret, years of asking why nothing is working. You won't be guessing anymore. You'll know. And once you know, you can fix it. No one can do this part for you. There's no app, no person, no shortcut that replaces your daily effort. But if you commit to this habit and stay with it, you'll begin to separate yourself. You'll start building what others only talk about because now you're consistent. And consistency wins in the long run. So track your actions, review your progress, learn your patterns, build discipline, and stay steady. Not only when it's easy, but especially when it's difficult. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's where your future is earned. One day at a time, one page at a time, one action at a time. Stay with it, because the person you become through this process will be worth every step. Chapter 10. Repeat the habit until you become someone better. Becoming better doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from one breakthrough, one book, or one decision. It comes from repetition, showing up day after day, and continuing long after most people quit. Real change is slow. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks if you'll commit anyway. You don't need to be extreme. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to stay consistent with the habits that matter, and not for a short time, but for as long as it takes. If you want to be stronger, sharper, more focused, more disciplined, more in control, then you must repeat the habits that create those qualities. Not once, not only when it's easy, again and again, until those actions become part of who you are, until they no longer feel forced, until they happen automatically. That's how you know you've changed. Not because you promised to, but because your actions no longer require negotiation. They happen because this is who you are now. This is where most people struggle. They want the outcome, but refuse to repeat the process. They start strong, stay consistent for a few days, then disappear. Not because they're incapable, but because they expected results too quickly. Change doesn't work that way. You don't grow because you tried hard for a week. You grow because you kept going after the excitement faded. That's where character forms. That's where the old version of you gets left behind. You don't grow from what you do occasionally. You grow from what you do daily. That small habit, reading, journaling, walking, training, meditating, planning, whatever it is, if you stick with it, it will reshape you. It will influence how you think. It will stabilize your emotions. It will sharpen your focus. You won't notice it immediately, and that's the point. Change happens quietly. One day you'll look back and realize you're no longer who you used to be. Not because of one big move, but because you kept showing up when it stopped being fun. Repetition isn't glamorous. It's boring. It's quiet. It's full of doubt. You won't always see rewards right away. That's why it's hard. That's why most people quit. But those who stay with it are the ones who truly evolve. They understand the habit matters more than the feeling. Action matters more than mood. They've learned that imperfect consistency beats waiting for perfect conditions. Repetition builds trust not with others, but with yourself. Every time you do what you said you would, you prove your word has value. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop letting emotions steer your direction. You begin moving with clarity. You begin expecting more from yourself not because someone told you to, but because you've seen what consistency makes possible. The world is full of shortcuts. Everyone wants to skip steps. But shortcuts steal the process, and the process is where growth lives. Habits are where real transformation happens. Not in what you plan to do, but in what you do repeatedly. Repetition doesn't just build discipline. It reshapes identity. It changes how you see yourself. You go from someone who tries to someone who lives it. When a habit is repeated long enough, it stops being something you do and becomes who you are. You're not just running, you're a runner. You're not just eating better, you're someone who respects their health. You're not just writing, you're a writer. And once it becomes identity, consistency becomes easier because you're no longer forcing yourself. You're staying aligned with who you've chosen to be. You might not see results yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't working. Every repetition matters. Every effort adds up. Just because you don't see change today doesn't mean strength isn't building. Just because your mind feels tired doesn't mean discipline isn't growing. You have to trust the process long enough for it to reward you. And it will, but only if you stay with it. This is what separates average from great. The ability to keep doing the right things long after the first wave of motivation fades. The patience to repeat the basics when no one is cheering. The strength to keep going even when you can't see results yet. That's real power. That's what builds the foundation for everything else. Stop changing your plan every few days. Choose habits that match the future you want and repeat them daily without exception. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You need to stay consistent with a few core habits until they change you, and they will, slowly at first, then all at once. When that shift happens, you won't need to explain your growth. People will see it in how you speak, how you move, how you live. Repetition also teaches you how to push through resistance. There will be days when your mind pushes back. Days when everything in you wants to skip it, delay it, or quit. Those are the most important days. That's when the old version of you tries to come back, and your job is simple: don't let it. Do it anyway. Show up tired. Show up uncertain. Just don't break the chain. Every time you repeat the habit, you're building a stronger version of yourself. You don't need 100 habits. You need a few that truly matter and the discipline to repeat them. It's not exciting. It's not easy, but it's real and it works. The people you admire aren't special or lucky. They're consistent. They've learned to stay loyal to the process even when it's slow, even when it's hard, even when no one notices. That's the difference. This works because your brain learns through repetition. That's how habits form. That's how focus sharpens. That's how confidence grows. The more you repeat an action, the more natural it becomes. The less resistance you feel, the more momentum you build. And once momentum exists, everything feels easier. If you're serious about growing, stop chasing results. Start repeating the right habits again and again until you don't recognize yourself, until people ask what changed, until you feel it in how you carry yourself. That's the reward, and it's worth the wait. You already know what needs to be done. You don't need another plan. You need to keep doing what works. 1 hour a day, one focused action, one habit that lifts you, one small step forward. Repeat it, then repeat it again tomorrow, and the next day, until it's no longer a habit, it's who you are. That's how you become better. That's how you take control of your life. Not through noise, not through speed, but through repetition. Quiet, focused, relentless repetition. That's where real change lives. And now, it's your turn to live it.